On today's video, I'm going to review 1985's DungeonCraft tile set. Two new box sets that they have. I did an original set review with it's a dungeon setting. This time I'm going to do Realm's Edge, which is kind of a combination of different areas. And then I'm also going to do the Cursed Lands set, which is very Ravenlofty. So, stick around. Okay, starting with Realm's Edge. It has a little bit of Gothic setting. It has some fairy forest stuff, has some spell effects, and it has some town stuff, mainly buildings. On the back, you can kind of see a little bit of what you're getting. And all the pages on both sets and all the sets you get from them all come like this. They're heavy cardstock, and they are double-sided, and they're laminated for dry erase, and they have two sides. We've got, for instance, this is part of the Realm's Edge, very fairy forest area, and so they've got trees here, and on the other side, just a different color in the trees. And you can also see there's a kind of a creature right there. So this is another one where you've got the different colored trees. There's like swarms of fairies along here, and again swarms with a different color, and the trees. Now, as you can see, these fairies here, they're like 1-inch squares. And then they also have a little grid, very subtle grid lines put on them too. And it's designed to, you cut it out along, there's a solid edge, and you cut it out along there. And that way you can lay them down. Here's some, let's see here. Here's some bare trees with some interior part of a log with brambles in it. And if you flip it over, you've got the trees with foliage. Here's the bare branch, here's the foliage, and this is the exterior of the log. Now, like I said, they usually cut out along a little bit of an edge here, so you've got some of the ground underneath. I like to cut it like right along the actual log itself, or the edge of whatever the item is. That way, no matter where I lay it down, it's going to match the terrain. Because if I don't have any of this darker green terrain to lay it on, there'll be like a green border if the mat I have is a slightly different color. So that way, no matter where I'm laying them down, they all seem to fit. Here's another example of the trees. And then you have another monster down here. And then we flip it around. Different colors for the monsters as well. Looks like some toadstools along with some trees here. Got a couple of those. Now this is really great to have. These are some walls. One side they're stone, and on the other side they're wood. So if you want to do like a wooden building or the interior walls of a tavern, you have that. And again, these are cut out, and they've got a little bit of the green border once you cut them out, because the dividing line is, or the cut line is like 1/4 of an inch on each side of this wall. I like to cut them so it's right up against the wall. So once again, no matter where I lay them down, I don't have the background I have to worry about. You get a couple sets of these. And with these, you have more walls. These are a thinner stone wall, more of a layered brick-like stone versus the solid stone that these are. And on the back side of these are kind of an aggregate wall, as you can see if you look up close. You've got stones mixed with almost like mud or something. You get a couple pages of those. And on the back side of so again, also stone. And then, for instance, here you have what looks like maybe a cemetery gate, or gates, like a gated, or not a gate, but like a cemetery fence. Yes. And then even have a couple of entrances here to use. You've got corner pieces for all these different walls that you could actually just make a square out of. You don't even need to use these extra wall pieces if you don't want. And on the back side of this is more of a wooden palisade type wall. Again, more of the trees. But you also get, this. It's kind of this is the basement. This is the houses section, actually. So for instance, here's a roof. And then when you flip it over, you have the interior of the building to go with it. This is a section, this first one I showed you, is like the interior of a building that's like the first floor. And you can see stairs going up to a second floor. And then this is like the basement of that same house. Because you can see where the stairs going down here, when you flip it over, match the stairs that go down to the basement. This is also one that has, you can use one of the other roofs on top if you like, but looks like some kind of an inn or a tavern here. And you've got stairs that loop down, and when you flip it over, you can see in the basement. And for instance, same thing here. This could be like to the second floor. And then you have the stairs looping, and the same stairs here to show another level. Here's this one. Got kind of a temple interior. And you get a variety of these. Some of them have cobwebs like this to show that they're dilapidated. And see, for this one, you have the exterior building and the roof, and when you flip it over, you can see what's in this attic section of this roof. You also have smaller houses. So for instance, you have this roof with this interior. Now this roof, you can see, has broken sections, so it's like an abandoned building style, and the interior also reflects that. So that's an example of what you get in the Realm's Edge box. Now we're going to go to the Cursed Lands, right? Just a little bit. This is again more Curse of Strahd themed, very gothic horror. Here's an example of some of the creatures. This one comes with lots of creatures. So these kind of look like twig blights of different kinds. What else we got? Yeah, these kind of all look like some kind of a plant monster. And on the other side are the same thing, but just different colors. You also get, here's some really large coffins and these thrones. But on the back side is the interior of the coffin, and the thrones are blue here. Now I've cut some of the Cursed Lands out because I've been using them. So for instance, here you get a few black cats to go with it. You also get some big giant cauldrons. Let's see what else. Okay, you also have like some vampires here. More vampires, just different color. That way you can use the same, you can have a multitude of enemy, but you can use the alternate sides. That way you have different colors of the same thing. You also get some coffins. It's the interior of the coffin and the exterior of the coffin. There's also some trees here, and then the trees with the foliage. Here's some farm animals, hay carts, and you flip them over. You have carts with stuff in them this time. And if you notice on the animals here, you have the regular pig and cow, and you flip it over. And these are kind of different versions of those animals. Here's some other creatures you get. Again, different colors. You also have some crypts. Some of these giant statues that have, say, a robed figure on one side, and then more of a warrior figure or magic user figure on this side. Well, it's more of a warrior with a cup. And you also get, like I said before, you get like a crypt. Here's the top. Here's the interior. You also have some of these, like a large tent with the interior. Here's a larger crypt. This interior is also larger. You also get some, there's a wagon, interior of the wagon, smaller covered wagon with interior, very Vistani type stuff. Here's a horse cart. So this is some examples of the different things you get. And now what I can do is I can show you how I use them on whatever battle map that I happen to be working with. So let me show you that. Okay, so here's one way that you can use these. I'm going to do an outdoor thing. For instance, in the Cursed Lands, or if you're running Curse of Strahd, you can take these walls that come with the set, with the Cursed Lands. Now, they have them marked out as on an inch long or an inch wide piece. I chose to cut them right up to the wall because depending on the background I'm using, sometimes the background that they're printed on won't mesh with the boards I have. So I've cut them like right up to the actual wall. That way, no matter what I put them on, they'll still blend fine. So if we put those here, maybe we can kind of do an impromptu cemetery like this. And put this here. And then your front gate. Just go across there. So now you've got your wall. And then you can take a large tomb and put it there. Smaller one there. And then it comes with also gravestones. Grave markers, if you will. And these are kind of a dark gray on one side and have more of a green patina on the other. So you can put them either way. So put a few of those there. So you've got a basic cemetery, and then you can also surround it with some trees. You can also lay it on top like it's overgrowing the cemetery. So now you have this set up, and your adventurers can come in and go through the cemetery. And when you need them to go into the crypt, all you need to do is flip it like this. And now they're inside the crypt. So it kind of does its own fog of war thing. That's one example. And now I'll show you another. So with this, you can just set up your room. Like so. So you got your room like that. The original DungeonCraft dungeon tile set came with doors that are like metal on one side and wood on the other. So you can put that there, and so there's your door into it. And then your adventurers can be here examining the room. Now with that, you can also put, here's some barrels. Again, these came with the original set. I would really recommend getting that to start. So they can have a collection of barrels in the room. There's also like wooden chests. And again, these came on an inch border that was gray, and I cut it right down to the chest itself. So no matter where I put it, it works. So you put a chest there. So now you've got room interior. But what you can also do is using these same walls, especially if you're using all this for your immersiveness. You don't necessarily want to go back to a dry erase drawing method. You just take these and turn them into your corridor. So like for instance here, we have an intersection. Just like that. And you can take some of these straighter pieces to create the original hallway that they came down, and where they can also see moving on. Like that. Okay, so your adventurers have made it into the room. The DungeonCraft sets also come, both the original set and the Cursed Land set, come with statues. So for instance, here's a statue from the original set, and here's some Cursed Land statues. But another thing that all the sets come with are tokens for creatures. Now the original set of the dungeon tiles comes with the most characters. That comes with different player races or player character tiles, and they're done on a 1-inch. You cut out 1-inch tabs. As you can see, it's got like a vampire, and they're also double-sided, so you can have different variations of that same creature. So here's your vampire, and they could be facing off with your party. This one's a zombie. That's the other side. So you can put him down. Here's a wraith. And then this is the other side. Hard to focus there. And then here's another vampire. So you can put them down so you have tokens for your creatures as well, if you don't want to use 3Ds or 2Ds like I'm using here. So that's another thing that the sets come with. They also, and what I've done is I've cut them up and I've used these little trays to keep track of everything. So this is more of my creature thing. And then in here I've cut all the pieces up, and here's the headstones. Here's some crates. These are pillars. There's the barrels, doors, that type of thing. So I can just keep them organized. But the biggest thing about this is everything is so portable, especially nowadays. A lot of online gaming, but if you need to travel somewhere to run a game, you can put all this in a small kit. So here's another type of setup you can use. You can use the characters from, for instance, here's one from the original set. Now these aren't double-sided because they don't need to be. But here's like here's a couple versions of the knights that you can use. So you could, if you weren't using these, you can just set these down as the people facing off. Like that. There you go. Now all the sets that I have anyway, I haven't looked at the Hell and High Water set, but the original Dungeon Tiles, Cursed Lands, and Realm's Edge sets all come with houses that again are the roof on one side, interior on the other. So what that works really great for is you just setting up a village. Maybe a large statue in the town square. Put that back here. And for instance, this one from Cursed Lands, the roof has pieces missing and caved in areas. And then the interior is also very distressed, reflecting the kind of horror aspect. So now you've got city streets that your characters can interact around. And you can add as many as you want. You can put them in any alignment to make a big broad street or make a small village. And when they decide they want to explore a house, then all you have to do is flip the house over. And now they can be inside the house. And that's one of the great aspects of these tiles is it's like its own fog of war. You don't have to cover anything. You just flip it over and you've got your interior. And there you go. 1985's DungeonCraft tiles, the Realm's Edge, and Cursed Lands. They also have other sets, such as the Hell and High Water, which has a lot of demon areas, very Avernus type setup, along with ships at sea for sea adventures. I don't have that one yet. I want to check that one out myself. But there you go. This is what and it's for the price. It's amazing that the number of tiles you get. You get, for instance, on the Cursed Lands, it says right here, over 1,200 pieces. The original dungeon set that I got a few years ago when they first started producing them, before the boxes even were there. It was more of a Kickstarter setup. That was over 1,500 pieces. Yes, it takes some time to cut them, but it's totally worth it. They're very transportable. You can fit so many. I've actually put in everything I need dungeon-wise in this box. And then I've also separated out some of the others for when I take my DM's kit to go run a game somewhere else other than my house. So they're very transportable. And I find them great. One of the best things I've ever seen when it comes to this type of setup. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll also put the web addresses to purchase all this stuff in the comments below. Again, thank you for watching. If you like what you're watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know when new videos are coming out. So once again, thank you from RPG DIY, and I will see you later.